We're talking safeties in the offseason for the San Francisco 49ers. What do they need? Do they need a safety? And 4 prospects that could be fits for the San Francisco 49ers in the NFL draft on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Love our everydayers. Love that you're stopping by once again. And love that you helped make us the #1 sports podcast network in all of the land. We are talking safeties on today's program. Crocker, our resident DB expert, breaking down the field. All the films on Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. We got Dillon Thieneman from Oregon, Kamari Ramsey from USC, and Bud Clark from TCU on today's program. And if they are fits for the 49ers, before we get to those prospects, though, Croc, and those scouting reports, what round we think they should go in generally, what do the 49ers need at safety? The 49ers currently have under contract Malik Mustafa, Ji'ayir Brown, last year's rookie, Marcus Siegel. They have Siran Neal as well. I believe Derek Forrest was a practice squad guy who's still around for the San Francisco 49ers, along with Derek Canteen. I don't know if those are the 49ers do have big plans for those guys on the 53-man roster going forward, but they'll be in camp and they'll be competing. Jason Pinnock was in a 1-year deal. He's going to be a free agent for the 49ers, but really the 3 main guys that you're expecting to be around and competing for spots on the defense for the 49ers is Malik Mustafa, Marcus Siegel, and Ji'ayir Brown. Most of those guys are pretty good and have a lot of experience near the line of scrimmage. So, Croc, I would assume that the 49ers would be looking for somebody who's got more experience that could be the next guy in the deep middle of the football field. Do you agree there?
I think you want the guy that can be the most versatile. Can you get a guy that can play up in the box, make tackles, but also fly around on the back end and, has the athletic ability to make plays on the ball vertically down the field? And I feel like the 49ers, they keep getting these guys that are they lean a lot more one way as opposed to the other. And it seems like these guys are leaning more towards guys that play better coming downhill as opposed to going backwards. So can they find someone that can be a combination of both?
Yeah, and we've seen Ji'ayir Brown.
It's not super easy.
Yeah, it's not. We've seen Ji'ayir Brown do both. We saw Marquez Siegel do a little bit of both last year. We saw both Brown and Siegel playing, more of the free safety role, even though, as we know, the 49ers kind of interchange their safeties. But there's going to be a lot of single high being played by the 49ers, most likely, similarly to Robert Saleh with we went over what the coverages look like for Raheem Morris and his defenses with the Atlanta Falcons. So I assume we're going to see a lot more cover 3 still and some single high safeties. And so who's the player that can do that? Who's the player that has the range? Because I think, and I don't know if you agree, but Ji'ayir Brown's a good player. I think the 49ers can do better there.
Well, I don't know if Ji'ayir Brown is a good player. I think he is a serviceable player. And that's where we're at right now. And I feel like we have a large enough sample size from the time he's out there or, him just being injured, the amount of times that the 49ers have tried to replace him, right? So clearly he is someone who, you need him to start a game. He can start. You need him to play an extended period of time in the game. He can do that. Is he the guy that you ideally want to go into the season knowing that this is our guy? And I would say they're still looking for that at least one of the safety spots.
Did you see enough in Marcus Siegel to think that he could be the answer there?
I think there's some areas where he can definitely improve. I think the instinctual aspect of playing at the NFL level is something that he can get a little bit better at. A lot of times, especially at the defensive back field, you're seeing a lot of different things at the NFL level for the first time, completely different offenses as opposed to what you're seeing consistently in college. So I think he showed enough ability at different levels. Will he be able to give you more consistency with what you want out of your safety? I think that's still a huge question mark for him.
So let's start the college scouting report portion of this program. We've got a number of guys to get to, so we're going to have to jam through this and talk about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Dillon Thieneman, Kamari Ramsey and Bud Clark. Let's do them in order of where they're generally ranked right now and see if we agree with those rankings. First of all, out of Toledo, and my first impression of Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is that Croc, is there a safety, first of all, not a impact position, not a priority position for most teams. A Toledo safety is going to be picked before the 49ers even have a chance at pick 27 in the first round. That's the way people are talking about this kid out of Toledo. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, 6'2", 200 pounds. What did you see when you put on the tape of the Toledo safety?
I thought he was someone that was taller than 6'2". He was long and lank, kind of gangly looking a little bit. I wanted to talk about McNeel-Warren and Thieneman around the same time, right? I was like, can we put those guys in the same segment, or try to fit them in the same segment, or talk about them back to back? Because I don't think you could have two different guys who are good football players whose styles are contrast. It's like black and white or yin and yang. Like, they are complete opposite, but both are good football players. So with McNeel-Warren, he plays all off of athleticism. I mean, everything about him just screams athleticism. You'll hear me talk about some of these other guys with, playing with like instincts, right, man, super instincts. Instincts are through the roof. You see him flying around, jumping things, and this guy is just back there and is like, oh, I see it. I'm going to use my athleticism to go make the play. And that he does. I think he was a terrific tackler in space. And this was a late, I watched him late. So I don't even have, this is all off the dome. I was watching him while I was at work because enough people asked, like, what about McNeel-Warren? What about McNeel-Warren? Okay, let me go watch him. All right. But he would come down. I thought he was a terrific tackler in space. I thought he was more than willing to get dirty. I mean, I'm going to fly into a pile and try to figure out how can I get in on this action. Gonna fly around. When he sees it, he's going to go and try to make a play, tackle in the backfield. He's flying around to the flats. I saw a guy miss a tackle, and he's there cleaning it up, and there is no leak yardage. So he's more than willing to throw his body around, and I love that. And he's looking to get in on all the action. Very, very active. When it comes to coverage, he has the ability to run vertically with guys. He just doesn't do anything like a lot of times you'll see like a tactician where they kind of get into a pedal. They have this technique they use. They see it, they click and close. He kind of just hops around and is looking for the action. Okay, you're going to go deep. I'm going to go and I'm going to run and I'm going to knock the ball away last second. Like, he has the athletic ability to kind of make up for not being the most instinctual player. I watched him going in for a tackle, like somebody caught the ball, got loose a little bit. Up, here I come. I'm getting in on his action. Boom, punches the ball out, right? Like, he's getting in on all the action from that standpoint. The thing I wonder with him is at the NFL level, it is extremely difficult to rely on your athletic ability to always put you in position to make a play. The NFL, it just happens so fast. So I think there's two things I would like to see him improve on, or maybe I just need to watch more film. I would like to see him be a little bit more technical, because at the NFL level, I need to be in my pedal. I need to click and close. I need to break, or I need to be using a scooch technique. Like, I need to use something that's going to help me while I'm reading it, and then I got to put my foot in the ground and I got to go. I can't just hop around and then just, let me use my athleticism to go make a play. That's what he does. And at the NFL level, if you don't do that enough, it's hard to make a lot of plays at the NFL level and not be super instinctual. And what I mean by that, like, you just, from the time, and sometimes the instincts come from watching film. Because, I mean, I've watched all this film. I've seen this formation, right? I know when they come out here and they do this, okay, he does this. And you just see guys close, and it's like, wow, how do you get up there so fast to make that tackle? They had a read on it. He looks like, and I don't want to compare him to Aaron Rodgers, but there was this one year I remember watching Aaron Rodgers and thinking, is Aaron Rodgers watching film, or is he just out there playing like he's in the backyard? And that's what McNeel-Warren reminds me of, someone that I'm just outside playing in the backyard, or I'm playing with my friends, and I'm going to fly around and I'm going to figure out ways to make plays. It just gets more difficult than just that when you get to the NFL level.
And so you love the athleticism, but at the same time, it's a great point. It's a hard way to play. And I saw reps with McNeel-Warren where he's playing deep safety, and he kind of lets the receiver get behind him. And like, I don't know if he's beating him or he's not worried. And then the ball gets thrown and he makes up the ground and he catches up and he makes the play. Like, I don't know if you can live that way in the NFL. I don't know what conference Toledo's in. I guess you can do that in that conference. NFL, it's a different ballgame.
And one of the games I watched, he was playing against Kentucky. So it is SEC football, but we don't view Kentucky as as not. I didn't see him against LSU, know. And I'm talking about prime LSU, not whatever the hell LSU was last year, even though they still probably are better than Kentucky.
They got a safety we got to talk about as well at some point.
Yeah. Got to get to him as well. But I will say this: if you're talking about high end upside ability, and I know how coaches think, oh, give me that long athletic player. I'll teach him some technique. I'll get him to understand film. I'll get him to play with instincts. The tough thing with that is sometimes when you take that player and you try to mold him into something else the way you need him to be, sometimes it takes away a little bit from what made him good in the first place. So you have to be a little you just got to be cognizant of that and just understand you got to bring him around a certain way. Or you have to say, hey, he plays a little weird, but we got to let him be him. But you're not getting, let's say Ed Reed, right? Who, terrific athlete, great instincts, also great on film.
Right.
And understood everything that you wanted to do. And he would fly around, make these plays, but he knows what's coming. I don't think that's McNeel-Warren, at least not right now.
More on Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, where we think he should go in the draft. Dillon Thieneman out of Oregon, Kamari Ramsey from USC, and safety Bud Clark from TCU next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by Indeed. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. If you've ever hired someone and they look good on paper, but they weren't quite the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites because Indeed's sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. Sponsored jobs boost your post to the people who are the best match for your role. And that makes a real difference because according to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get $75 sponsored job credit to give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. I do want to thank the listeners once again for making us your first listen of the day. You got to check out the Everydayer Club. If you are an everydayer for Locked On 49ers, you get a ad-free stream of this show on Apple, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast apps, and an invite to members-only Discord access. You just got to join at LockedOn49ers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Okay, Croc. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Is he a first-round athlete?
I think he's a first-round athlete.
Okay. Is he a first-round safety for you? Because that's about where he's going late round 1, maybe early round 2, but in some mock drafts, even before the 49ers select at pick 27, do you think you could turn in the card at 27 based on what you saw on tape from Emmanuel McNeil-Warren?
I think you can, but you just would have to know that there will be some sort of a learning curve. And we're seeing some of that with some of the guys that we just talked about that the 49ers have at the safety position. But I do believe what I'm seeing on film is just he just looks a little bit more like I'm that guy than what we saw from Marquise Siegel or even, guys like Ji'ayir Brown. Siegel is a terrific athlete, but when I watch McNeel-Warren, it's like, I'm that guy. Like that's how he moves around. And I like that.
Yeah. Siegel, it was night and day watching Siegel and his range after watching Ji'ayir Brown for a few games and Brown got hurt. Siegel went in. It's like, dude, leave Siegel in the game because he's got different range than Ji'ayir Brown. And I wish we could have seen more of Marquez Siegel this year to have a better idea of what he's going to be, because I think potentially he could be that guy because he has that type of athleticism to play that role in the middle of the field deep. And I like what I saw from him closer to the line of scrimmage as well. But he was a 5th-round pick. He wasn't a first-round pedigree guy, so he's going to have to compete for that role, I think, in 2026 and beyond. Let's move on to the Oregon safety, Dillon Thieneman, who's another guy who's in that late 1, early round 2 range on most mock drafts, Croc. And you said you kind of wanted to talk about and compare and contrast McNeel-Warren and Theamman and how different they were on tape for you.
Well, Thieneman does not move around like I'm that guy. Like, you don't see like that kind of cocky swagger to him. He, I had some, I'm going to read what the 49er fan tweeted me.
Okay.
So this is not my words, but he said, Thieneman fits the 49ers well. He can run and he is white. Right. So from that perspective, he fits what the 49ers like in some of their athletes. But I'll tell you what they will like more than anything. And it's clear with some of the guys that the 49ers have targeted on the back end as far as prospects. He is super clean. He is always in the right position. He's always in the right position. I talked about using technique. I think he maybe knows it's not going to be just this groundbreaking twitch and speed and change of direction that's going to make me good. But he just uses terrific technique all the time. Nice little scooch. He's going to take away something, run to something. You need me to tackle. I'm coming up. I am a sound tackler. I am not missing. You need to play in the box. I can do that. I watch him run vertical with guys, running corner routes, out and ups. He's running with guys and he's with them kind of step for step. It looks like it's not his athleticism that's putting him in that position, but just I'm smart. I understand concepts and what these guys are trying to do. So I'm going to always be in position no matter where you need me to play. Like, that's what it looks like. So when I talked about those two guys, they're both successful doing some of the things. I feel like Thieneman's where he's at right now just translates more to the NFL to me. It just translates better or smoother. Like, I feel like he's someone where's a day one starter right now for the 49ers. Like, that's what it felt like watching him.
Yeah, he was a 3-year starter, and he had a lot of production. 300 tackles in his college career, 8 interceptions in 3 seasons as a starter. And he hits all the cliches, and he's the first guy in, the last guy out, and you kind of see that on the field with the way he plays. He doesn't rely just on athleticism, although I think he is fast. But he's not. He plays.
I don't know, but he's in position. So
yeah, I don't know what his time speed's going to be, and I think that'll be huge for him because the combine. If you're going to be a safety and you're talking about a first round safety, you better look like a freak at the combine because it's hard to be a first round safety, period. And so 6 feet 205 is what he's listed. We'll see how actually big he is. We'll see how fast he runs. He plays pretty fast, but I don't know if he has that level of speed.
Fast. I didn't see him play fast. Like, nothing about him looked fast.
Not like, fast as in like he blazes, like he's going to run 4 3s, but he doesn't look slow. He doesn't look like he has a problem with speed, I would say.
I'll read my notes like word for word what I have here. Reads plays very well. Doesn't take himself out of plays. Will be around the ball or the play no matter where it's at. Doesn't play twitchy/fast. Plays more with discipline than instincts. So he's another guy where I didn't quite see a super instinctual person, but it mattered because I'm so disciplined and do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. And that was just, I'm there. Like, okay, if you need me to be there, you can count on me being where I'm supposed to be. Covers very well with technique, does everything well. So that's a pretty clean prospect.
One thing I did see as far as the negative is coming downhill and breaking down at times. He got lost by runners a couple of times, okay. And it was like I don't know if it was a technique thing or if he was a little reckless. He didn't look reckless coming downhill, but he kind of came down, and when he broke down, and then the runner was like, okay, you broke down, now I'm gone, and ditched him. And I saw that a couple of times. So that's definitely something to look at. I don't know if he's going to come downhill or I don't know if he's going to come down and line up and shut down tight ends or running backs out of the backfield, as far as man coverage goes. So I'm not sure about that part of his game, but he really feels more like the guy that you drafted in the 3rd or 4th round and then becomes someone that was like, oh, you got to steal, rather than a player you have to draft in the 1st round and expect everything from him. That starts to worry me a little bit. I don't know if I'm looking at Dillon Thieneman as a guy that I could draft higher than where the 49ers are picking in round 2. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I even love him there that much.
Well, I think that's the part where, again, there are somewhat ji'ayir Brown vibes. I think where maybe I'm not as low as I was on Ji'ayir, and this was me thinking like Ji'ayir was like a good football player. He took the ball away a lot.
Yeah.
I just thought he played with a little bit more instincts, but then also with Ji'ayir Brown, remember I saw him get outran by the Ohio State running back, not knowing that guy was like low 4.4s or high 4.3s, right?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing him get outrun. I'm like, you had a really good angle and you still got outran. Like that scares me. And then you go and you run like a 4.65, but they're like, oh, his miles per hour was really good. No, he can run. I'm like, that's not quite what I'm seeing on film. So those things scare me. Where with Thieneman, I just, at least with the games I watched, I didn't see anything that scared me. So maybe that's why I may be a little bit higher on like, okay, if you want to take him in the first round, okay, because everything I saw was just very consistent. And hey, man, I'm not a top 10 pick. Like you're not gonna think you're getting, now again, the version of Jamal Adams that what he turned out to be in the NFL, more like a linebacker. Like when he was coming out, it was like, this is a legit safety. He is everything. I remember watching him test. I remember watching him his workouts. Like, oh, this is the guy.
Yeah.
Like, so you're not saying he's that, but you are saying, hey man, this is a guy. Okay, late first, second round, I like him.
Yeah, back when he was Prez. I don't know if he can still claim himself as Prez these days, the way he plays it. It works when you're like the leader of the team and you're running 4.38 at the combine and safety. He's like, oh my God, this guy. And then after a few years, like, yeah, you're not Prez. And we made vice Prez, maybe treasurer. Let's talk. We got to talk Kamari Ramsey out of USC, Bud Clark, TCU safety as well next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's over, but guess what? The winter games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events that you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. Man, I was completely enthused by the biathlon, which is cross-country skiing and rifle shooting, if you didn't know. Love seeing the snowboarding super pipe. Of course, the drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. Even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. International hockey is awesome. Speed skating, it's unbelievable what these athletes can do against the elements of ice and snow. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Okay, Croc. Just McNeel-Warren and Theamman. My opinion, early second, kind of late second round grades for those two guys. Where are you at as far as just like if you had to say, okay, this is ideally where this player should probably go in an NFL draft?
I think I agree because I have questions with both of them. There's actually a guy I like more than both that we'll be talking about.
Well, is it Kamari Ramsey out of USC? Are you putting on your crimson and gold colored glasses? Is Kamari Ramsey your guy out of USC? Because I actually quite liked the tape from Kamari Ramsey, and he's got a little bit of everything. And I don't think you have to draft him in the first round.
No, it's Bud Clark.
Oh, it's Bud Clark. Do you like his ability to take the ball away? Because that's the thing that Bud Clark has shown an ability to do. By the way, these guys are all very similarly sized, by the way. Dillon Thieneman listed 6 feet 205. McNeel-Warren, 6'2", 202. Kamari Ramsey, 6 feet 205. And Bud Clark, 6'2", 190. So a little slimmer. I don't think he's 6'2", by the way. But let's talk Bud Clark then. He's your favorite of the bunch?
He was my favorite of the bunch. I actually liked Ramsey the least.
Okay.
Of the bunch. But Bud Clark, man. So real quick, just some notes. You talked about him taking the ball away. In the games that I watched, he did not have an interception. He actually dropped a gimme interception. So I call my buddy and I'm talking about these prospects, right? There are things that I felt like I would like that play back, or I know you would like that play back, right? Like maybe he missed a tackle, or when he dropped the interception, there were a couple coverage plays where somebody ran a 5-yard hitch and again, as prospects, you're looking at ability. Like, what kind of ability do you have? What kind of instincts do you have? I thought out of all the safeties I watched, he was by far the most instinctual guy. And on top of having terrific instincts, I thought he had more than enough athleticism really shine through in all his ability. I thought he was a terrific 3-level player. You need me to make tackles at the line of scrimmage? I can do that. I watched him miss one, but I watched enough where he's getting in on that action. He's making tackles at the line of scrimmage. I'm watching, you throw a 5-yard hitch, he's there. Again, there was one that just got right by him, but I'm looking at his technique. He's playing the catch technique. He sits, he sees the route, boom. He triggers. He uses his long length. He dives, just misses the ball. I mean, just misses. And there was another vertical throw where he gave up a catch downfield. But again, I'm looking at ability, backpedal, turn, open, run. Guy ran a corner route. He's playing in all this space, flipped his hips, jump, went to knock the ball away. I mean, played it as well as you can. Somehow the guy came down with the catch. But I'm looking at ability and traits that you have. And I think those were examples of him doing everything that I want to see, but maybe not getting quite the results. But there were a lot of other plays where he was getting the results. And he played you want me too high, you want me single high, you want me playing around the box, I'm coming down. I thought they left him in man coverage a lot on slot receivers where guys have two-way goes. I mean, his film was really good, in my opinion. Almost reminiscent of Juan Thornhill. Remember, I really liked Juan Thornhill and what he was. It was somewhat like that, where it's like, I'm seeing a lot of things that I like in my safeties. Now, Thornhill tore his ACL like rookie year or something like that, and it just wasn't quite the same after that. But what I'm seeing with this guy, man, Bud Clark, I really liked it. So if you told me, hey, okay, Croc, you really like him, but he's a 3rd-round pick, I'd be like, okay, I'll pass on these other guys and I'll try to get him in the 3rd as opposed to drafting them. And I'm curious to see how he runs. He may be a guy like Juan Thornhill. Remember, I was really high on Thornhill. Then he went and ran a 4.45. Ended up having like a crazy broad jump or vertical jump or something like that. And he was drafted early 2nd, I believe. And that was about right. So if you told me Bud Clark goes and he tests well, maybe not as well as Thornhill, but hey, he tests well. There's nothing alarming there. I really liked his film. A little light in the ass. You just said listed at 6'2", 190.
Yeah.
What I want from my safeties, if you can tackle, I don't care that you're not as heavy, right? Like, it's not where you're not having to tackle the Nigerian nightmare coming out the backfield. Like, it's not those days. It's not the 90s and early 2000s where Jamal Lewis is running the ball all day or Jerome Bettis. You got to tackle Alvin Kamara. You got to tackle Christian McCaffrey, who runs hard, but he's not the biggest of guys. We don't see him just lowering the shoulder, dipping on guys, and keep running. So I like what he brings. He was my favorite guy. Maybe I'm thinking favorite as opposed as far as like value, but just everything that he was and his ability. I liked it more than any other film that I watched from Ji'ayir Brown, Siegel, Mustafa. I feel like he comes in right now and is a much more versatile, at least prospect than they were coming out of college.
Yep, and it makes sense that he would look like someone that knows what he's doing out there because he's played a lot of football, Croc. He's been at TCU for, I think, 6 years. I think he had a red shirt year and maybe 2 red shirts.
I think he fits the 49ers perfectly then.
So he's not only an instinctive player, but he's like a veteran player already, and he's taken the ball away. He's got 15 career interceptions over the course of those seasons. He had a season with 5, a season with 4, 2 seasons with 3 interceptions. And so much like Dillon Thieneman, he's played a lot of ball. He's been a 3-year captain in his junior season, junior, senior, and sophomore years, and has taken the ball away. So a lot of ball production, he's played a lot of snaps, and you can see that.
I could see him taking the ball away like that because, like I said, the most instinctual player. Now, again, I watched a few games. I did not see an interception. So everything I'm going off of is him. Like, I'm not even seeing the takeaways. I'm just seeing his ability to put himself in position to take the ball away. And to me, that's the thing that I really liked. And I'm talking about at all levels.
I'm writing down Bud Clark because we're talking about late day 2, early day 3. It's looking like for Bud Clark. I did see somewhere that claims he's going to run a 4.48 is what he's run before. So that would definitely help his stock if he runs that fast. But it's a crowded safety group. I think it's a deep safety group. Kamari Ramsey out of USC. Talk to me about him. You said he's your least favorite of this group. The thing I liked about Kamari Ramsey is I saw him line up everywhere. They did a lot of split safety looks, so you saw him a little bit deep. He lined up a lot near the box. He played a little bit more deep apparently last year at USC than he did this year at USC. He looks like he's got solid size. He looks like he's got the right intentions when he fills against the run, and he looks like he's an athlete with range. So there's a lot to like, and I think he's got a lot of skills to work with Kamari Ramsey. Is he that fit as that single high free safety would be my biggest question.
So let's start with a couple of things I did like. Can thump. All right, that's one of my notes. So willing to come down, make tackles. Looks good when he triggers from space. So when he was out in space, but he triggers and he sees the run and he comes downhill, I thought that looked good. But overall, my very last note reminds me of pro Ji'ayir Brown. And that's just a guy that's just kind of out there a little bit. So some of the other things that I noted, not as instinctual running the alley, especially in run support. So did I see some plays where he would do? Yeah, but there were enough times where I'm watching guys run the ball and he's just kind of back there and just kind of. Do you remember that 3rd and 18 play the 49ers gave up? It was a run play. It was 3rd and 18. And I'm watching Ji'ayir Brown
probably for the 49ers, right?
Yeah, and I'm watching Ji'ayir Brown. I'm like, what are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting? Like, come down. You got to make a tackle. Like, bro, why are you waiting? He's waiting. Then the guy just ends up getting the first down. That reminded me that, like, Kamari Ramsey, there was that. And I'm not saying not to that extent where it's just, like, such a terrible play. But a lot of just kind of waiting. And, okay, and then I'm around the ball. But, look, I showed everything kind of, but I'm not making any of those plays. And that's not to say that there weren't any of these guys that you're talking about being pro athletes, getting drafted. They're going to have some stuff. He probably has a really cool highlight tape, right? But when you just put the film on and you're watching, there wasn't much that just stood out and says, hey, this is why you draft me. Again, these other guys, it was very clear. I probably had the least amount of notes on him because a lot of it was just, I'm just out here. Like, I'm out here in space. I'll show you me in the slot. I play a lot of. I'll show you me at 2 high safety, even in the slot. How much man is he playing in the slot? So I get to see some of those movement skills. 2 high safeties, kind of out there playing it safe a little bit. I'm on top of the guys, like, there just wasn't enough that I personally have seen. Right, I watched 3 games, so he has a lot more film than that. I need to go back. I watched 2 from this year, 1 from last year. But maybe I could watch more, and I would like him more. But right now, I'm just seeing a guy who. On top of not being instinctual, which 3 out of these 4 guys, I'm talking about not being like super instinctual, but with the other guys, they had these other things that I felt like they did so well that really stood out immediately when you watch them. And with him, I didn't quite get that.
He's probably not going to go any later than round 3, and I think he's going to work out pretty well too. So it sounds like he's going to be too rich for your blood, Croc. Bud Clark seems like the best option as far as where he might go in this draft and what the 49ers need. That seems like it could be a glove type fit. And I don't think I draft any of these guys in the first round at 27. That's just me. That's where I'm at. You got to be pretty special at the safety position to be a first round guy. And I'm not sure I quite see that with McNeel-Warren and Theamman, although McNeel-Warren's athleticism does look pretty enticing. And then the combine is going to say a lot about these guys as well, and where they might all kind of get grouped together and where they will be placed in the NFL draft. So fantastic stuff, Croc. And we will continue to break down prospects for the NFL draft, talking free agency all off season long. We do not quit. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And Croc and I back Monday. Is it a mock draft Monday? I think it might be right here on Locked On 49ers.